Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are officially predicting the entire 2026 World Cup following the official draw from a few days back. Now, when that draw was made, I made a quick reaction video. I gave some off-the-cuff opinions and predictions, if you want to even call it that. I didn't really give it much thought, to be honest, because I didn't have a lot of time to dissect the draw. I didn't really have a lot of time to look at matchups, per se. I kind of just went, all right, what do I think is the best? What do I think is... And I think with the World Cup, it's always a lot more complex than that. You got to look at form, you got to look at matchups, all that stuff. So this video is going to be a whole lot more about actually breaking down each group. I'm not going to break it down in its complete entirety because once the tournament is a few weeks away, I actually want to be making whole videos on each group, breaking down every single team from that. In fact, I might even get fans from that country that are also content creators to come on and give their insight on these teams. I'm going to do a whole bigger breakdown as the tournament approaches. This channel is going to be World Cup heavy. Don't get it twisted. But this is, I guess we're going to call it my way too early World Cup predictions. And the thing I like about the FIFA site right now is it also lets you go into the bracket. So round of 32, round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal. We're going to try and do this entire thing today. Before we get started, guys, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're nearly on 100K. Nearly. The goal is to do it before 2026. But let's get started. Okay, Group A. Now, I actually think all three of the hosts got groups that are obviously missing superpowers, right? Because Mexico, Canada, and the US were pot one teams, they of course missed out on Brazil, Spain, France, Argentina, Germany naturally, right? So they were never going to get a team that's much better than they are. But when I look at these groups, first and foremost, I find them very, very even. I think we always talk about the group of death. And I think one thing about this World Cup is that group of death idea is almost done now. Because there's 48 teams and there's 12 groups and 8 of the 12 best third place teams go through, the possibility for a group of death doesn't really exist. Or even if you get one, the stakes don't feel that high because even in that situation, all 3 of those teams can go through. I think that's kind of shown in these groups, right? But if we look at these groups, let's start with Group A. Mexico are the hosts, South Africa, South Korea, and then a playoff winner from Europe, which consists of Denmark, Macedonia, Czech Republic, and Republic of Ireland. Now, when trying to predict this group, I think a whole lot has to be decided once that playoff winner comes out, right? If Denmark goes to the World Cup, I think my prediction changes entirely as opposed to if, with all due respect, North Macedonia qualify for the World Cup. I think the whole makeup of the group changes. So I think for this video, us as a channel have to come to a conclusion. Let's just agree that in this hypothetical scenario, let's give it to the highest placed team, which I think in this situation, to be fair, is Denmark. I know Republic of Ireland had that huge result, Troy Parrott going crazy, but I think Denmark are the highest seeded team out of that. So just for the sake of the video, we're going to say Denmark are in here. Now, if Denmark go to the World Cup, this group is crazy. It actually might be the most even because I think all 4 teams will look at each other and say, oh yeah, we're better than you. But they think the same thing. And another thing too, when it comes to predicting the World Cup, it's all about the timing of the games, right? So Mexico is going to play South Africa, then they're going to play Korea, then they're going to play Denmark. So that game against Denmark for them might be the hardest, but by then they could have had 6 points already. They're already qualified. As opposed to if they lose to South Africa and they draw to Korea, that final game against Denmark is make or break. And it's the same for all these teams. Having said that, Mexico are no longer the team of the 2000s and 2010s, right? Where with Chicharito and you look at Guardado, you look at Ochoa and goal, who's the best goalkeeper at every damn tournament he plays at. It is a different team, right? I do think home support is going to be massive for them. We know Mexican fans as well too are passionate. They ride out for their team, even though I think they're also very critical when the team's not doing well. They have, Javier Aguirre, right, as well too, who I remember from when back I was watching football, like 2010 times he was the coach of this team. So he's got experience here. And they have their old foe, South Africa from 2010. Having said that, I actually think I'm going to have South Africa topping the group, guys. I think I'm a big fan of South Africa. Having watched them in World Cup qualifying this past year, having watched them in AFCON the past few tournaments, I think South Africa are a team that have been on the rise. And funny enough, they show us the world ranking. South Africa in 61st. I can't believe that. Honestly, every time I watch South Africa, I think they're damn good. They breezed through African qualifying, and even despite having a points deduction because they fielded an ineligible player, but they came out of a group of Nigeria, and was it Burkina Faso or Benin? One of the two. I can't remember who exactly it was. It wasn't an easy group. They breezed through that. I think they play really exciting football. I've watched them at club level as well too. I just think South African football right now is in a really healthy place heading into next summer's World Cup. Now, the interesting thing about the African teams, and sorry to stay too long on Group A, but the interesting thing about the African teams is there is AFCON this month and next month. So I'm going to say this for a few teams. This upcoming AFCON will tell me, and I think tell a lot of people, a lot about what to expect from these national teams in the next few months at the World Cup, because have an amazing AFCON, they might be able to carry that form into the World Cup. If a team flops at AFCON, hell, they might fire their manager before the World Cup and everything looks different. So I'm going to go South Africa to top the group. I'm actually going to go Mexico second. I'm going to go Denmark third, and I'm going to have Korea Republic in fourth. Denmark have tons of experience at this tournament. We know that. They only really kind of fell out of automatic qualifying because of Scotland and their heroics on the final day, right? But I think I'm content with that. And I would actually still have Denmark potentially going through as a third place winner, even though I think Korea Republic will give all three of these teams tough games. We then go into Group B, which is, of course, Canada, another one of the host nations. A playoff winner from Europe, again, Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, or Bosnia, Qatar, and then Switzerland, of course, as well, too. Now, when I did this the first time, I don't think I was really thinking straight, because the more I think about it, right? Again, let's assume Italy go to the World Cup because they are the highest seeded team, right? I think I definitely disrespected Switzerland, right? I think I had them third or something like that. I'm actually going to put them first here. First and foremost, no pun intended, Switzerland at these tournaments have so much experience and so much experience of going far in these tournaments. I mean, they made the quarterfinals of the Euros a few years back. I think last World Cup, they made the round of 16. For the most part, they're pretty much a surefire bet to get out of the group stage, right? In fact, they only narrowly lost to England on penalties last Euros. So I'm actually going to put Switzerland first here. I'm going to put Italy second. I'm going to put Canada third. I'm going to put Qatar fourth. Now, as a Canadian, I hope that Canada finishes incredibly high, right? I hope we finish first in the group. But you got to realize, right? We play Italy first. Let's say Italy are here. We play Italy first game of the World Cup. And of course, we're going to be buzzing. The atmosphere is going to be incredible. Hosting our World Cup, it's huge. Italy, as poor as they've been over the last few tournaments, are still Italy. And I think in a game like that, boy, I'm not sure. That second game for us against Qatar will be huge. It's a must win. But then a final day against Switzerland, right? That's a tough group for Canada, if I'm being honest, right? USA and Mexico, I think, are a lot happier than Canada are when you kind of look at the strength of the group. However, again, I do think, well, they should get 3 points. That second game against Qatar is huge. Even if they can get 1 point out of the other 2 games, right? I think they should progress as one of the third place group winners, but I'm going to give the advantage right now to Switzerland in first. And Italy, I know, again, they need to make the tournament to begin with, right? They've missed out on the last 2 World Cups. If I assume they make it, I still think this team has enough quality, or should have enough quality, to get out of a group with Canada and Qatar. Even if they don't finish above Switzerland, I think they should still be expected to come out of this group. You look at the front two, which I think has been the best part about them in World Cup qualifying, in Retegi and Ken. I think those two should have enough goals. You look at the back line. I know Bastoni hasn't had a great season. It hasn't been good for Italy the last few tournaments. But you still look at Bastoni. I'm looking at Barella. I'm looking at Donnarumma, Calafiori. I still think they should have enough to get out of this group. But having said that, we thought that last tournament. And then Qatar, all due respect, I think they're going to finish fourth in this tournament. We go to Group C. Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Now, I think Haiti's going to finish bottom in this group. First and foremost to Haiti, I think I have to apologize because last video, I think Haiti, I said this was their first ever World Cup appearance. It's not. You guys were very kind in telling me that it was 1974. So apologies from my point of view. But I think Haiti, to be fair to them, will finish bottom of this group. I do. I think Scotland will also finish third. Now, that second game for them, or no, it's their first game actually, Scotland versus Haiti. This is a must win for Scotland. Or to be fair, it's a must win for both of them. But for Scotland in particular, who we are going to give more of a chance, let's say, this is a massive game. They have to win this because against Brazil and Morocco, this is 2 of the hardest teams to play in this entire tournament, let alone the group. Scotland are up against it. They have to get 3 points on the board from day one. This has to be, in their eyes, a gimme. I know it's not going to be. I know it's the World Cup, but they have to win this game. So I'm going to go Scotland third, Haiti fourth. Now, as for Brazil and Morocco, here's my prediction. I think Brazil will beat both Haiti and Scotland. I think Morocco will beat both Haiti and Scotland. So that first game between the 2 of them will decide who wins this group. And funny enough, my prediction is that they're going to draw. I think they're going to draw. And it's going to go down to goal difference then. Who scores more goals against Haiti? Who puts more past Scotland? For that reason, I think Brazil have more firepower than Morocco. I do. Even though they have their own flaws. We'll talk more about Brazil once we get to the knockouts. I think this is how it's going to end. And I'm going to go Scotland third, Haiti fourth. We go to Group D. Group D is difficult. It's D for difficult. The US, the third host, Paraguay, Australia, and then a European playoff winner between Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, and Kosovo. Again, I think the balance of this group depends on who comes out of this playoff. If Kosovo come out of the playoff, respectfully, I think they're probably going to finish fourth. If Turkey finish outside of the playoff, or if they qualify out of the playoff, I think they could finish first. I think it's as lopsided as kind of that. So it's tough to say here. Let's say Turkey progress, because like we said, let's do highest seeded go through. If Turkey progress, man. I mean, to be honest, Turkey are another team similar to the US, in my opinion, that could finish first in this group. They could finish bottom. The US, it's really interesting because Maurizio Pochettino's tenure as manager has not been a success. Let's call it what it is. Even despite the results in the last few games being positive. I mean, that huge win against Uruguay, that's a massive result for him. His tenure as US boss has not been good, and it hasn't been all his fault, right? A lot of the games, he hasn't had his best players to call on, players pulling out of friendlies. He hasn't really, I don't think, had the best preparation ahead of this World Cup. However, I just think playing at home with the fans on your side, a lot of these players having this privilege, the group not being all that difficult, I have to believe that the US are going to embrace this challenge. This sounds corny as hell, right? It makes it sound like it's a movie, but this is the only thing that I believe in for the US. I have to believe that once a ball is kicked, they can kind of just but take in the fact that they're hosting a World Cup. They're playing a World Cup on home soil. The whole nation, all 50 states are looking at you. Get it done. It's time to deliver. And I have to hope that in that realization, in that moment of realization, this group can unite and just get the job done. Because if we're being real, if we look at countries with the most pressure to do well at this World Cup, obviously you have the traditional big teams, and Brazil in particular have huge pressure. But outside of them, I think there's an argument to be made. The US have the most pressure at this World Cup. Because I think the future of US soccer, US football, is in there, it's in the balance. It's hanging in the balance right now. Have a great World Cup on home soil, and I think the entire culture, the entire trajectory of the sport in the US can catapult. But if the US flop, get eliminated in the group stage at home, boy, I think that's pushing the country back 30 years regarding football, man. I do. So because of that, I'm going to go USA, I'm going to go Turkey, I'm going to go Australia, and I'm going to go Paraguay. Now, Paraguay, they finished, I think, 6th in World Cup qualifying. They're okay. They got a squad. Congratulations to them for getting there. I think this is pretty even, to be honest. Australia, someone was very adamant in reminding me that Australia are a team that we always kind of overlook, and they almost always manage to get out of their group, right? Last World Cup, they managed to get out of their group and played Argentina. Gave them actually a good game as well, too. They've done so on previous occasions. But also for Australia, it's not an easy group. Turkey, I think they have a lot of quality, and they're one of those teams as well, too, that in a tournament, you never know what you're going to get. I remember 2 Euros back, they were everyone's dark horse, and they flopped. Last Euros, everyone was afraid to touch them because of the Euro before, and they went to what? The quarterfinals. They did pretty well. I'm going to go with this order, I think. But honestly, this group is volatile, man. This could completely flip. Let's go Group E. If we want to look at group of deaths, this is one of the group of deaths. With all due respect to Curacao, who are actually the smallest country to ever appear at a World Cup, I think this is a happy to be their moment. Honestly, I can't see them beating any of these teams. Like, this is a tough group for Curacao, man. They're just happy to be here. Let's call it what it is. Cote d'Ivoire and Ecuador, I think, are such interesting teams. Ecuador have been fantastic in World Cup qualifying. They've got, obviously, a lot of recognizable names. Pacho, Hincapié, Moises Caicedo. Defensively, these guys are strong. In World Cup qualifying, they had tight games. Win or lose against Argentina, against Brazil. I think it was against Colombia. Like, they can hang with the best of them. Going forward, maybe there's still questions, even though Ener Valencia is still up front for them. But it's going to be, they can make things a dogfight. Whereas Cote d'Ivoire, obviously, we know what they did in the last AFCON. Historic, winning it on home soil. They're not the team of the 2000s, per se, the 2010s with Drogba, Yaya Toure. But they've got a lot of pieces as well, too, that can hurt teams. And then Germany, who over the last 2 World Cups have been an absolute disaster. 2 group stage eliminations. But it's a new core. It's a new generation. They weren't bad at the last Euros at home. In fact, if I look back at it, I think they arguably gave Spain, the winners of that tournament, the toughest game. They pushed them all the way to almost penalties. This is big for Nagelsmann. It's big for Wirtz. It's big for Musiala. I think they should top this group. But honestly, you know how we always say with every World Cup, whatever you think is going to happen, it probably won't because there's always an upset. I honestly think if any team could potentially finish 2nd or 3rd of the big traditional teams, it's probably Germany because of how good Cote d'Ivoire and Ecuador are. I'm going to go with Ecuador 2nd, and I'm going to go with Cote d'Ivoire 3rd. But a lot of that hinges on that first game between Cote d'Ivoire and Ecuador. That first game between the two probably decides who finishes above the other. And then maybe after that, it's a shootout against Curacao, who can score the most. Group F sees the Netherlands, Japan, a playoff winner between Ukraine, Poland, Albania, and Sweden, and then Tunisia from Africa. Oof. Netherlands are interesting for me, man, because I actually really like their squad. I don't really like their manager. Ronald Koeman, for me, is not the guy for this job. And I think he could potentially be what holds back a really talented generation of Dutch players from going as far as they should. Now, they're in a tough group, right? Because Japan are one of those teams, again, similar to Australia, similar to South Korea. They go into every tournament, and I think everyone just disregards them, but then they end up going to round of 16 minimum. Last tournament, first and foremost, what? They topped the group of death with Spain and Germany. Then they took the semifinalist Croatia to penalties. This is a good team, man. It's a good team of experience, quality players all across. They're well coached. They're well disciplined. They've got great technical quality. I rate Japan. Honestly, the Dutch probably have a better team than them, but I think Japan, at the moment, I'm not going to lie, they could cause an upset here. And similar to Germany, this could be one of those teams, when you look at the traditional teams, who maybe slips up. It might be the Dutch, man. Now, of that playoff winner between Poland, Sweden, Ukraine, and Albania, look, Sweden looked like the best team on paper, but if we're also being real, they were terrible in qualifying. And the only reason they're even here, I think, is because of the Nations League. So let's go with Ukraine to go through, because I think, again, they are the highest seeded team. I'm going to go for this group. This is tough. Again, it's that first game between the two of them that probably decides this, right? You know what, guys? I'm going to put Japan first. You know what? I told myself before recording this video, don't just be predictable. Don't do what everyone else thinks is going to happen, because we know that's not how the World Cup works. I'm going to go Japan first here. I'm going to go Dutch third. Second, I'm going to go Tunisia third. And I'm going to go the playoff winner coming in fourth. This is what I'm going to go for. This is my big shock, I guess, of the group stage. Japan to top the group of the Dutch. There you go. And honestly, this one as well, too. Group G now. Belgium are probably the weakest European first seed team, if you want to call them that. The golden generation is long gone. What it remains is like the Lukaku, who's not even 100% fit at the moment. De Bruyne, who's never fit anymore. They have Doku now, who's part of the new gen, I guess, Tielemans. It's an okay team, man. Belgium, for me, don't really do anything for me anymore. Honestly, for me, since De Bruyne kind of fell out of his peak, and since Eden Hazard retired from the national team, Belgium has not been a team anymore that I kind of fear going into tournaments. Now, they're in a pretty favorable group. New Zealand, I think, will be the bottom of this group pretty easily. Iran, I think, I rate them. I do rate Iran. I think they're a team to watch out for. And then Egypt, Mohamed Salah, going into another World Cup. I think his second one. This time with a lot more firepower, though. I'm going to go, this. Belgium, Iran, Egypt, New Zealand. I'm going to go for that. Although I don't really rate Belgium all too much, I think they should have too much for the rest of these teams. Like Egypt, for me, they're a bit like Algeria, to be honest with you, in terms of they've got quality, but I feel like at these tournaments, it's so difficult to predict what they're going to give you. I'm going to go Egypt third, Iran second. I'm telling you right now, Iran are one of these teams at every World Cup. I know the last one they got group staged, but they're a problem as well too, man. They're very, very underrated. I'm going to go Belgium first, though. Group H, let's go, let's Spain, Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde, I think it is. What is it? Saudi Arabia and Uruguay. Okay, Spain are topping this group. Spain are one of my favorites for the entire tournament. And this group for me is a piece of cake for them. Now, on paper, Uruguay should be naturally the second team for most people. But I think that's kind of going off name bias here. Let's not even forget what Uruguay did the last World Cup, where they got grouped by South Korea, right? They were average. And this is a team now that no longer have a peak Suarez anymore. They no longer have a peak Cavani anymore. They don't even have Tabares as their coach anymore. It's Marcelo Bielsa, who did well to salvage their qualification, got them to the World Cup. But even as of late, I mean, they just got smoked 5-1 by the US. They're very hit or miss. They've got players that you will recognize, right? Valverde, Bentancur, he who must not be named. We won't say his name. Darwin Nunez up front. But honestly, guys, I like Cabo Verde, man. In fact, I think they're going to probably be one of my shock teams at this tournament. I'm going to go them second, Uruguay third, and Saudi Arabia fourth. That's what I'm going for, guys. I'm going for that. Group I, everybody's group of death. France, Senegal, a playoff winner between Iraq, Bolivia, and Suriname, and Norway. Now, Iraq, Bolivia, Suriname, for argument's sake, we'll go Iraq. Hope you enjoy your stay. Those 2 weeks, I hope you enjoy everything. I hope you get to do all the sightseeing you want to do, meet all the people, try out all the new food, integrate with the locals, meet people from the opposition. Enjoy it. It's going to be a great time. Faisal, if you manage to get out there, enjoy it. Vlog it, put out videos, but you are respectfully probably going to eat 5 goals a game. I think so. France will top this group, right? Look, I have my own qualms with France when it comes to these international tournaments, namely Didier Deschamps, because I think for the amount of quality that they actually possess, they arguably have the best team at this entire World Cup. I feel like they underwhelm relative to quality. Now, that's crazy to say because they almost always make the semifinal or final of any tournament they're in. But I don't know, for me, for Deschamps to have 1 win at a tournament since he's been there, which is 2014, over 10 years now, I feel like this team should have won more. And I think they should also play a lot better. But having said that, they always go far. And as good as Senegal and Norway are, France will top this group. I'm going to go second Senegal. I am. Now, them and Norway is tough. And I think they actually play on match day 2, which will tell us a lot. Norway have the best goal scorer on the planet. He might just be the best player on the planet based on this season, right? And he did exceptionally well to take them to the World Cup. They were very good in qualifying. Senegal, they just got off like a recently damn near 30-game unbeaten run. They're so strong from head to toe. I think their problem is a problem that a lot of national teams have, where They have a really promising young group of players coming through in the form of Njai, Habib Diarra, like Ismail Sarr's not that young. You know what I mean, right? That younger core. But I think they're still kind of hanging on to the likes of Sadio Mane, who respectfully, as much as he's done for the national team, probably should not have a guaranteed starting spot in that team anymore due to his form these days, right? But having said that, I think Senegal are still a better team than Norway. I'm going to have Senegal second. I'm going to go Norway third with Iraq in fourth. But I think Norway will definitely qualify for the next round. Group J. This is my group. Algeria. Well, Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. Argentina, of course, the reigning champions and actually one of the oldest teams at this tournament, but they're looking to do what hasn't been done in a World Cup since 1962, and that's successfully defend their crown. And to be honest with you, I think they've been given a pretty decent group. Algeria are in here. We'll talk about Algeria in a second. Austria and Jordan. They should honestly be looking to win all three of these games, leave the group with 9 points. So Argentina, not even worth talking about them until the knockouts. Argentina are through. Now, I think Jordan are going to come forth. They were good in qualifying over the last year or so. They've been very, very good. Went to the Asian Cup final, qualified out of Asian qualifying pretty comfortably as well too. But I think this is going to be a step too far. So I'll put Jordan in fourth. Now, for me, it's between Algeria and Austria. This first game for Algeria is not great for us. Playing Argentina on the first day, as much as I want to believe in Algeria, I think we're going to lose that game. It really comes down to beating Jordan on match day 2, and then that final game against Austria, where, as I've already told you, there's revenge to be had for us. Here's the thing with Algeria. You remember how I said about South Africa, I have to see what they do at the AFCON? For me, the same can be said about Algeria. Algeria have flopped the last 2 AFCONs. Flopped. We finished bottom of our group the last 2 times in very easy groups. We have a new coach now, Petkovic. You might remember him as the former coach of Switzerland, so he's got a lot of experience, but a lot of Algerian fans are a bit uncertain about him because we feel like we have really not good players. We feel like we have a really good upcoming generation that are ready to contribute now, but Petkovic, maybe having to almost abide by pressure from the higher-ups, is continuing to play players that we love in terms of what they've accomplished with the national team, but again, similar to Senegal, have kind of just outlasted their stay. Like, as much as I love Mahrez for what he's done for Algeria, he shouldn't be starting for the national team anymore. We've got players like Hadj Moussa, who I think is ready to take the reins and help this team do great things. A big thing will be AFCON. For me, if Algeria have a good AFCON, quarterfinals or onwards, Petkovic will stay. Maybe we can build into the World Cup. Or maybe Petkovic staying is the wrong thing, but having a good World Cup keeps him there and we flop at the World Cup. Vice versa. If Algeria have a horrible AFCON, Petkovic might not even be in a job after that. Then who takes over the team? Then what do we look like going to the World Cup? So it's very difficult to say. Austria, on the other hand, have had Ralf Rangnick at the helm since he left Man United. And at first, when that appointment was made, a lot of raised eyebrows. Rangnick had pretty much flopped at Man United and then taken the Austria job on his way out. But since he's taken over this national team, Austria have flew. They were amazing at the last Euros. They topped the group of death with the Dutch in France. They've qualified for the World Cup for the first time since 1998, and they play a typical Red Bull style of play in terms of Rangnick's philosophy of high pressing, being fast. They're a good team. They really are a good team, and I think it's going to be a tough game for Algeria. I'm going to go for Austria here. Like, honestly, if I'm being realistic, I think Austria probably have a little more than us at the moment. I think we have the potential to beat them, absolutely. Like, could it be this instead? 100%. But I have to see AFCON. So to be safe, I'm going to say third. I think we should be able to beat Jordan and qualify as one of the best third-place teams. Group K, Portugal, led by Cristiano Ronaldo, a playoff winner between Congo, Jamaica, and New Caledonia, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Now, let's go Portugal first. I think they have a fantastic team from top to bottom. And when it comes to the group stages at tournaments, they usually breeze through these kinds of groups. Honestly, let's call it what it is. When's the last time Portugal didn't qualify out of their group in any tournament? Was it, damn it, it might have been, what's it called? 2014 World Cup. They'll be okay. I got Colombia in second, and I got Congo in third. Congo are one of those teams, when I watch African football, I fear the hell out of them. Many people who watch African football will say Morocco, Senegal, maybe even Algeria. No. Teams like Congo scare me. Teams like Congo scare me, and it's no fluke that they managed to get past Nigeria in that playoff. I think they're going to come third. I think Colombia have kind of had a little bit of a rejuvenation after missing the last World Cup. James is still there, but they got a new crop of players of Munoz, James Rodriguez. This is a team that I think are on the up, and I think they're going to be a fun team to watch at this World Cup. And Uzbekistan, I think I have them fourth. Now, they were really good in qualifying, had an amazing defensive record, but I just think they probably won't have enough to get out of a group this tough. And then finally, Group L. England, Croatia, Ghana, Panama. England, I'm not going to lie. Again, group stages, they're pretty much a surefire bet to go through. I'm going to have Croatia second and Ghana third. Panama, I think they took advantage of a really weak CONCACAF region without the US, Canada, and Mexico to play. They qualified that way, but I don't think they have enough to beat any of these teams. Between England and Croatia, I think that first game is actually going to be a draw. That's my prediction. I think Croatia, England will draw, and then I think England will probably just outscore Croatia when it comes to Ghana and Panama. And then Croatia, we know they have the experience to make it through. And Ghana, I think, look, for them, they need to beat Panama. They have to. This game on match day 1 cannot be a draw. They have to beat them. Otherwise, they're going home. So this is my group stage predictions. Take a look. The next thing to do is picking the best third place teams. Now, let me tell you guys this. This is not as easy as just saying who are the best teams here. That's what I'm going to pick. It's who are the teams that had the most points in the group stage. Therefore, let's look at the teams that, in our opinion, have the weakest sides in them, right? I think Scotland will go through because Haiti is in their group, and I think they'll beat Haiti. So that's 3 points off the bet. I think Canada will go through because they got Qatar in their group. So that's 3 points off the bet. And I also think Côte d'Ivoire will go through because they got Curacao. That's 3 points off the bet, right? So Canada, Côte d'Ivoire, and Scotland. I think they're going through. Algeria, I'm repping, man. Come on. Jordan, we should be able to beat them. We might even finish second in this group. That's another team. Egypt, New Zealand, that's another team. That's minimum 3 points. Tunisia, I don't think so. I don't think they've got... I think they might struggle to get more than 1 point here. I don't know if they get a win out of this group. So, unfortunately, I don't have them going through. Norway, Iraq. Ha! Faisal. Get out of here. Norway are through, and then we need a few more. I think Uruguay should have enough. So I'll go Uruguay. Now, it's between Australia, Tunisia, Ghana, Denmark, and DR Congo. Now, Australia, as good as I think they're going to be, this is a tough group to get a win in, bro. It is. But then again, does that also mean, could they finish on 4 points? Because maybe they win, lose, draw. Ooh. Maybe I need to rethink this, actually. Maybe I need to rethink this bit, chat. Because actually, when I think about it, I'm looking at teams who can get 1 win. But they might finish on 1 win, 2 losses. That's only 3 points. A team like Australia could beat Paraguay, lose to the US, and draw Turkey. That's 4 points right there. Ooh, wow. I'm still going to go Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire for me are still going to go through. I think they're going to finish on 4 points. So I'll go Côte d'Ivoire. I'm still going to go Algeria. Egypt will go through. But this changes things for me now. It does. Oh, man. And it might go down to goal difference as well, too. Norway will go through. Or they should go through. Canada will go through. I think Denmark will go through, you know. I think Denmark will go through. That changes everything now. Okay, 2 more. I think Scotland might finish on 3 points. That might not be enough, man. That might not be enough. Uruguay, where Uruguay? Uruguay will go through. And that means 1 more. To be honest, did that change that much? Probably not, right? Maybe Scotland are the only team that missed out now. DR Congo. I could see them on 3 points, to be honest with you. Scotland, no. Tunisia, no. Ghana, I think they'll end up on 3 max, which means I actually think Australia will make it, you know. I actually think Australia will make it. Let's go Australia. That's crazy. Those are the 6 teams I'm going for. Okay, let's go. Let's pick the knockouts now. We'll start in Boston Stadium, round of 32, Germany versus Australia. I think this is pretty straightforward. Germany, for me, will have too much for Australia. I just think Germany, at this point, you're still looking at them as too strong. They go through. France versus Egypt. Respectfully, France in these games. Egypt will not have enough for them. France. Mexico versus, who was POA? Who was playoff winner A? Italy. Oh my goodness. Italy, Mexico. You know what, Chad? I got Mexico, bro. I think I got Mexico. Mexico's going to be away, though. They're going to be playing in Los Angeles. LA got a lot of big Hispanic community, you know? I'm right in saying that, right? I'm going Mexico, man. I'm going Mexico. Japan, Morocco, and Houston. Ooh, that's a good game. That's a really good game, chat. I would go in this game, Morocco. I go Morocco. Colombia, Croatia. Ooh, I go Colombia, man. I think I'm going to go Colombia. Croatia, I know have experience at these tournaments, but I actually think Colombia will have too much power, too much speed for Croatia at this tournament. I think Colombia will go through. Spain, Austria. I got Spain going through. USA, Canada. Oh my God, the 2 host nations going at it. San Francisco Bay Stadium. US, Canada. Jesse Marsh against his former national team. Wow, guys, if Canada beat the US at the World Cup, oh my goodness. Where do I sit in this conversation? If Canada and the US play, I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to tell you guys who I would support in that game. Canada versus US. That's the country of my birth versus the country where I basically grew up in. Woo! I don't know. I'm going for... How would that game play out? I think the US would beat them, man. I think the US at home, would beat them, bro. I think if they make it this far, though, yeah, I go the US. Wow, though, that'd be crazy. Belgium versus playoff winner D. Who is that? Playoff winner D. That is Denmark, Macedonia, Czech Republic, Ireland. So we're going Denmark here. Denmark or Belgium? Ooh, Denmark or Belgium? I'd have to say Belgium. Yeah, I think Belgium win. Brazil, Netherlands in the round of 32. What? Brazil, Netherlands in the round of 32. Ancelotti and the Dutch. Wow. I'm going Brazil. I'm going Brazil to beat the Dutch. I am. Ecuador versus Senegal. This would be a blockbuster game. Fantastic game between these two sides. I would go Ecuador, Senegal. Oh, Habib Diarra versus Moises Caicedo. Wow. I go Senegal. South Africa versus Uruguay. I'm going to go Uruguay. I think Uruguay's physicality in this game will be too much for South Africa. I think this is where South Africa struggle a little bit. Physicality, I think Uruguay's got them. England, Norway. Haaland versus England. I think England have too much for them. I think England have too much. Argentina, Cabo Verde. We go Argentina. Playoff winner C is Turkey. Let's go Turkey. Versus Iran. Turkey versus Iran. I'm going to go in this game, Turkey. Switzerland, Algeria. Petkovic versus his former nation. Allow me. Come on. When can I be cheeky like this, man? Come on. And then Portugal versus Cote d'Ivoire. I go Portugal here. Okay, we go all the way back to the round of 16 now. And guys, round of 16, Germany, France. I actually think this is a good World Cup prediction so far because honestly, guys, we've got big teams exiting early. I think this is what I want. I don't want to predict the easiest teams. Germany versus France. One-off game. I go France, man. I go France. I think France have too much for them. Germany, man, I think they're going to play some fun football. When Musiala is playing, boy, that guy's showtime. But I just think France, it depends on how they line up, honestly. But for me, France's best lineup probably comes Mbappe, Ousmane, Olise, maybe Cherki or Doué in behind. That could be a crazy front four. I think that has too much for Germany. I do, and I think experience will tell here. France beats Germany. Mexico versus Morocco. Oh, wow. What's crazy as well, too, is Mexico wouldn't be playing any of their games at home. By this point, Mexico is going to be hosting Uruguay, England. Okay. Houston Stadium, Mexico versus Morocco. Again, big Hispanic community in Houston. This is going to feel like a home game. Mexico, Morocco. Mexico never gets past the round of 16, do they? That's their curse. I go Morocco, man. Colombia, Spain. I think Spain have too much. USA, Belgium. USA, Belgium at Seattle Stadium. This is where the fairy tale ends. Belgium beats them. Brazil, Senegal. I go Brazil. I go Brazil. I think Brazil. You know what it is with Brazil, guys? I haven't talked about them too much in this video. I feel like now people are going too far with Brazil in terms of saying they're scrubs, they're going to be bad. Have people been watching Brazil since Ancelotti took over? I don't think they've lost the game. And in fact, I think they've actually played some pretty good football. Now, a lot of this, will Neymar be at the tournament? What does Vinicius Jr. do for Brazil for the first time ever? What's the defense look like? I think Brazil are going to be better at this World Cup than people think. I don't think they're going to win it, without spoiling it. I think they're going to be better than people think, though. I put them at least in the quarterfinals. Versus England. I think England get past Uruguay. And then, of course, Argentina versus Turkey. I go Argentina. And then Algeria, Portugal. This is where the run ends for us. Hey, salute. It's a pleasure. Portugal beats us. Okay. Now, these quarterfinals are tasty. France versus Morocco. Last tournament semifinal. And just like then, France progress. Spain, Belgium. Spain. Brazil, England. Tuchel versus Ancelotti. Oh, man. This would be the first big test for Thomas Tuchel in England. Can they get over that stumbling block of the big teams? Oh, man. This is tough to predict, bro. This is tough to predict. I think England will beat them. I think England will beat Brazil. I think in midfield, that's where it's won. I don't really love Brazil's midfield. I know Bruno Guimaraes, Casemiro, good players. I think England will have too much for them in midfield. I go England. And then, ladies and gentlemen, Portugal, Argentina. Messi's last World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo's last World Cup. That's tough, man. That is tough. You know, chat, there's a part of me that thinks Portugal might beat them. There's actually a part of me that thinks Portugal might beat them, you know. Argentina are a better team, I think. But something bro, no team ever goes back-to-back. Messi versus Ronaldo. Ultimately, I'm going to choose Argentina. Because if I have to pick between, it's not even for me Ronaldo versus Messi. For me, it's between Scaloni and Roberto Martinez. And in Scaloni, I find him to be maybe the most club type manager of the international managers, bar the likes of Ancelotti and Tuchel, right? They're actual coaches at club level. But of the actual international managers, I find him to be the one that coaches his team like a club side the most. Whereas Roberto Martinez and Portugal in general, I feel like I've been scarred by them one too many times, man. I feel like just when you think they got it going, they always end up letting you down. This would be blockbuster though, man. Honestly, I could see this going either way, but because of Scaloni, I'm going to give Argentina the advantage here, which means the semifinals of the World Cup will be France-Spain and Argentina-England. France-Spain, a rematch of the Euro semifinal 2 years ago. Spain beat them that day. I think Spain's going to beat them again. I think Spain's going to... Oh, are they? Yamal versus Mbappe. No. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm going to go Spain. I'm going to go Spain, man. Between Argentina and England. Argentina and England. Does Messi go to a second consecutive final? Can Tuchel beat the Argentines? It's a rivalry for England, huh? I'm going to go. I don't trust England. I'm sorry. There's something about the English. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. Argentina versus Spain. We're so close to, by the way, a rematch of last tournament's final. So this final, in this hypothetical universe, but this is a spoiler, by the way. This is what's going to happen. Yamal versus Messi. Master and apprentice. Who comes out on top? Master or apprentice? And Messi already beat Mbappe 4 years ago. Can he take out the next young GOAT? No, he can't. I think, chat, Spain are winning the World Cup in 2026. This has been incredibly difficult to predict, man. Because honestly, I don't think Spain's route to the semifinals, the way I have it, is actually that hard. Like Austria, Colombia, Belgium. Those are straightforward games for me. France, Germany, Morocco. Wow. I got Spain winning it, man. I think Spain have one of the best teams. I really like the young talent that they have. I think a lot of it will come down to injuries and selection. Does De La Fuente continue to go with Simon? Is Rodri fit? Who is the fullbacks for him? But this guy, Lamine Yamal, man, I think he's set for a huge World Cup. I honestly do. And I got Spain winning the 2026 World Cup. Guys, I'm probably going to make one a week before the World Cup starts, because then we'll know that the qualified playoff teams, and maybe there'll be injuries or something helps us make this a little bit more clear. But about 6 months ahead of next summer's World Cup, this is how I got it working out. Spain versus Argentina World Cup final. Spain winning it all. Let me know what you guys think about all of this. Have I lost my mind? Did I lose you at any point in this video? How do you think I did? I think, honestly, I'd be happy if this was how the World Cup ended up. Because, look, it's not the most predictable. You got Belgium in a quarterfinal. You got Morocco in a quarterfinal. Argentina, Portugal would be mouth-watering. And then Yamal versus Messi. That would be an insane World Cup. Let me know what you guys think down below, guys. Like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.